Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the 36th edition of the DCW Conversation Hour. I am Munazanjum Faruqi, your host for today, and it is a pleasure to welcome all our fellow open knowledge enthusiasts and friends. A quick note before we begin: this session is being recorded. If you wish, you are welcome to keep your camera off or share your questions only through the chat. With that out of the way, let me briefly introduce what brings us together here today. Through DCW Conversation Hour, we have created a regular space to connect movement strategy with real world community work. Every session features a guest who brings hands on experience with communities, partnerships, and knowledge projects, and we explore what their work can mean for our own contexts. Today's theme is reimagining collaborations, communities beyond Wikimedia, a topic that sits right at the heart of movement strategy, sustainability, and the future of open knowledge. Leading this conversation is Pavan Santhosh. Pavan is an experienced Wikimedian and open knowledge practitioner who has been contributing to Telugu Wikipedia and its sister projects since 2015 and supporting communities across India in growing, collaborating, and finding their own voice in the movement. From program associate and community advocate roles to program manager for the Access to Knowledge program, he has worked on improving content quality, building capacity, and nurturing partnerships that actually last. Today, he serves as the program manager for the Open Knowledge Initiatives at IIIT Hyderabad, where he helps build multilingual, inclusive collaborations with institutions like archives, libraries, and academic bodies, while also bringing his experience from roles at Cora in community management and trust and safety operations. He was also a part of the Wikimedia 2030 movement strategy process as co coordinator for community health, bringing a strong focus on care, safety, and sustainability in communities. In this conversation, Pawan will invite us to look beyond the usual outreach model and imagine collaborations that are two way, long term, and rooted in the needs and priorities of the communities and institutions we work with. We will open the floor for questions and discussion in the last 15 minutes. At any point, you can type your questions into the chat. During the Q&A, you can also use the microphone if you would like to speak. We will try to bring in as many voices as possible. With that, let us get started. Pavan, over to you.
Thank you for that warm introduction. Thanks, DCW and AFI, for organizing such a very important space and holding this very important space within the movement and supporting spread of ideas across the movement with very key focus on movement strategy. Before in starting to speak, I would like to bring 3 points into the table. First one, I'm a non-native speaker to English, and my life mission and work is always around Indian languages, particularly in Telugu. I might speak grammatically impossible language when I start speaking in English, so kindly bear with me. If some of you are very well versed with English. So yeah, broken English is the best English. So definitely, that's the first point that I want to bring in. Second, I'm not speaking as someone who is sorted and understood everything that I'm bringing to the table. I am someone who is trying to figure out, like all of you or most of you, um, figure out answers to a lot of questions that I bring to this table, particularly about what makes Wikimedia movement more inclusive, particularly to newbies, particularly to new communities, organizations, workflows, and also new institutions to collaborate with. We Especially myself, I'm trying to work in this space for longer time than few years, and I had my fair share of failures and few successes in this regard, but uh, in the whole process I have figured out few things that won't work Did I figure out something that will definitely work? If that is the case, then you would know me in a different kind of know me as a different kind of person. I didn't yet figure out what definitely works in all of the contexts. Maybe not a single thing work for every context. That is second thing. I'm not sorted. I just want to say it. Third thing that I also want to say is that like whatever I'm speaking here just doesn't belong to me. There are people whom I'm working with within my team and also outside my team. People within Wikimedia movement and people beyond Wikimedia movement. People helped me come to some conclusions. People helped me figure out some of these ideas, etc. At the end, I will definitely recognize some of those very important people who shaped my ideas like this and helped me to see what I am seeing right now. But with all these three things, first one, my English is broken English. Second one, I am not a sorted person. Third thing, this is all, whatever I'm going to speak is not just doesn't just belong to me. With all these three disclaimers, I want to start what I wanted to speak today. I don't have presentation, but I have few questions. Um, it is like uh, first first few minutes we will discuss my questions. Then later we will discuss your questions. So if that works, I would like I know that like a lot of us do are not willing to speak when we are just participants in a conversation, but in general, conversations don't happen that way. So I really request and beg you to start speaking in this call often than you are used to. So to begin with everything, I want to give you few little more context about where I'm coming from. I started my journey as a Wikimedian in 2013. When I started my journey as a Wikimedian, I didn't recognize that there is a big movement here. I All that I know is that I got a new platform to write. I'm a writer. Primarily I am someone who care a lot about my language. My language is Telugu and I care a lot about Telugu. And I love reading and I love writing about books. This is how I used to be. I am a review writer, little known review writer by 2013, in my 20s, early 20s. So, with that energy, I came to Wikimedia movement and I quickly figured out this is a movement within 4 to 5 months. And I was fascinated by the idea that you can shape this movement also. It is not that it was all sorted. You can also contribute to this movement. There are people who will value your opinion, and you also will learn how to value others' opinion and have a conversation and fight for few things. Disagree about what is notable, what is not notable, and fight about like what is right kind of usage in your language. And also at the end of the day, amidst of all these disagreements, you can still respect each other. I was very young at that point of time. If you consider 24, 25 as young, I was very young at that point of time. And I was really thrilled to see outside my classroom, people are up for conversations. People wanted to listen to my opinion, and people also are not completely started like textbooks, but are growing something on social media by evolving policies around that also. So with that energy, I started contributing to Wikimedia movement in 2013, and very quickly, I also got to know that this movement is also hoping to expand outward and bring new Wikimedians into the movement, and also figure out how to make them contribute on a long term, welcome them, welcome new Wikimedians, and contribute in that direction. So within 1 or 2 years, I have also been introduced to a wide variety of Wikimedia outreach processes and also outreach models. Some of these models I was part of as organizer. Some of these models I was part of just resource person, etc. So, and also at the same point of time, luckily, I was also introduced to something called strategy. In 2014, Wikimedia Foundation came to India and said, like, look, Indian Wikimedia communities, I want to understand how you want to sort your things out. We have limited resources for India. How you want to organize among yourselves. It was called Wikimedia India Foundation's India Community Consultation in 2014. So all these things happened to me within 1 and 1.5 year. So within 1.5 year, I have been part of a lot of outreach activities. I have been part of some of the other models of engagement. For example, like I worked on a digital archive which was not sorted. But if it gets sorted, it can be very valuable resource for Wikimedians to write. Which means I also got to introduce to new models where external websites being a great source to Wikimedians, but there are some things that were not sorted with that website. If we can fix that website one way or other way, by collaboration or else building a shadow website which provide us with accurate description of these resources, etc. One way or other way, if we can sort that out, it enabling Telugu Wikimedians to write a lot of content with better resources, references, etc. I have been introduced to these various other kinds of, and also I also been part of one of the content donation activities. I have designed it myself, and there is a classic, Carnatic classic music show that was happening in my town, quite little town. And I went to singer directly and I asked that singer that, like, your voice will be heard by a lot of people if you realizes that content into Wikimedia Commons. And she doesn't understand what all those things. But I said, like, what if your voice will be heard on an English Wikipedia article? What if I can place your audio piece on an English Wikipedia article? And she was very happy and excited about that idea. My point was that, like, there are a lot of articles about these classical music pieces, and if I can relicense one of those authentic classical music content, then it can go to English Wikipedia, etc. So I have been part of all these exercises very early on, and later on, I myself started working on these ideas as a community advocate at that point of time for Telugu language. So with all this enthusiasm, I have hit that wall a lot of times. Wall of how to bring new Wikimedians into the movement, how to sustain new organizations within the movement. And I have my fair share of, what do you say, like, getting those, like, um, um, getting to hit on that wall multiple times. So with that, I would like to say these are the questions that always used to have, but I also want to listen to all of you if you have your own answers. So, first question is, who will become a good Wikimedian? So, if we don't understand, if as a person who is going with the motto of I will do this outreach, I will bring new people into Wikimedia movement. My first question is that who among these people would be good Wikimedians? What is the trait or quality of a Wikimedian? So, anyone thought of this question? According to you, what are those qualities? Or else one quality, two qualities, anything. Who can become a good Wikimedian? Good listener. Great. One who is consistent? Maybe. I disagree. Sorry. Good network. Maybe, Afi, it might be true. Wikimedians can be consistent people. Good networking skills, Kartikeya Gupta, maybe. maybe true. A person who has the curiosity. Yes, that's a very, very interesting answer to say, like, interesting point to say. Yes, right. A person who has that kind of
Yeah.
curiosity.
Pavan, just interesting. Curiosity is something very interesting, I would say. That is the main thing, probably, that motivated all of us to get into Wikipedia. First thing we all did was that at one point of time, some maybe 20 years ago or 15 years ago, we somehow clicked the edit button in the Wikipedia. And we went on to do some edits. And in most cases, the first edit went wrong. And it
Right.
was deleted, but we came up with a message. We came out with a message that if you write something, you have to give a reference. And that was the curiosity that probably was the start of our all Wikipedian journey for every Wikipedian. The curiosity of clicking the edit button. And most people
Right.
don't click. Most people don't click, but Wikipedians who got into Wikipedia movement probably clicked it once out of curiosity, and that was the beginning of the journey.
Perfect. That is one good answer. Um, an enthusiast with the purpose of bringing something to the forefront which has been shadows for long and needs to be due recognition. Yeah, also good definition. Good understanding of the Wikimedia rules, policies, implementation in their local context. Somebody who wants to contribute to the world's knowledge without any expectation in return. Chinu, maybe true for some people. True, true. All these answers are correct. Now tell me, in your daily life, just imagine you have met a lot of people. You meet a lot of people. For example, let us say for last 1 month you met a lot of people. How many of them can become Wikimedians based on your understanding? Just tell me, like, how many of them can be a good Wikimedian, or else at least Wikimedian. You can give percentage, you can give numbers, anything is fine. If it is a difficult thing to think, I will think myself. I mm, I have wrote this question, but I have not thought of answer. See, less than 1%. Okay,
Very pessimistic. Very pessimistic answer.
yeah, 70% Bashir. Wonderful. Very honest, like 10%. Probably 2 out of 30 people. Right. I meet my family members often. Can my family members be Wikimedians? I think yes. I meet my team members who are non-Wikimedians. Can they be a Wikimedian? Yes. Yeah, Redan, this is like classic Ratotille. I don't know how to spell it. Ratotille. So in Ratotille, there is a classic quote which says that anyone can cook, but not everyone will cook. So anyone can edit, not everyone will edit. So then Chinu said 10 to 12 people, 2 out of 30, and not everyone would be a good chef. That's true. So 70% Mazi, until now, like Bashir is with a lot of energy, and that's right kind of energy, I guess. Dranganda is also with an good energy. Less than 1% is also not bad answer. That's also good answer. And 1% of the whole world is a very big number. So my question now is, how many of these curious people, how many of these people that you imagine as can be good Wikimedians have mobiles, have laptops? Mobiles versus laptops. How many of the people that you see every day own a laptop? How many percentage of people own a laptop or desktop? How many own a mobile? 5 out of 10 own a laptop? 60% own laptop. Mobile 9 out of 10. That's true. But laptop 5 out of 10, right? 60% own laptop. But mobile means smartphone. Yes, yes. Sorry for my not being. 70% would have access to laptop or computer, smartphones with 95%. Okay. 80% smartphone, 25% laptop. Right. Anyone would want to continue answering message? Please do. I'll like every speaker who prepared to an extent, I would like to answer with some data. So, fewer than 10% of Indian household own a laptop or computer. I am speaking about India because like I come from that context. This is true for a lot of countries in southern hemisphere, or else lot of countries whom you consider global majority or global south. Global north, it's different, but global majority, fewer than 10%, fewer than 20% of households have a laptop. It's about household, not even a person. So in a whole house, if they need to have a laptop or desktop, only 10% of the people do have. Even in urban conglomerate, only 20-25% do have. Like Rangandatta rightly pointed out, not more than 20-25% of homes will have laptops, even if it is cities, even if it is metro cities. But 80% smartphone is the right answer. 95% any kind of phone is right answer. So smartphone number of smartphone percentage is growing and growing and growing and growing. So now my question is, how much of these people, how much of Wikimedia contribution and editing can happen through a smartphone? Within 100 tasks that we do, how many tasks we can do through laptop or mobile? Sorry, uh, do through mobile phones, particularly smartphones. 80% with the same comfort. Never tried editing through smartphone. Yeah, right. 40 to 40 out of 100. Yeah, right. So the point that I'm trying to make here is inclusivity. Um, this is one part that I want to speak about. I just want to conclude it quickly. We we think from a perspective of a laptop. We think from a perspective of desktop. But the world is going forward on mobile first point of view. Go to any major Indian or even global companies, they think on mobile. So they check they build apps for in the mobile first context. They create products in the mobile first context. So not because they wanted to do it that way, but because like the world is now rapidly changing and growing in that way. So this is one of the this is one of the issues that I encounter while I'm thinking about bringing new Wikimedians into the into the community. Now, just let us think from groups perspective. What are the kinds of groups that you think should come to Wikimedia movement? Group does mean like if you know some kind of is it librarians? Is it language enthusiast? Is it there is an organization called Intac. You can people can speak, unmute and speak. What is that one major organization or else one major group that you always want to bring? Academics, researchers is what Bashir is saying. Academicians is what Rangan Datta saying. Yeah,
Can
Rangan.
I add something, Santhosh? Yeah, academics and researcher are bit overlapping. So the academics, I think, needs to come in most cases. So one thing I would say is that before coming in, the academicians should, I you discuss this in my the advanced DTD with you, I think. So I'm discussing to more people who are not there. So one thing about academicians I know today, people don't know how to use Wikimedia. People only know Wikipedia. For example, I'm looking for a particular quote of a certain person. I must go to Wikiquotes and check that people don't know Wikiquotes. And if you search in Wikiquotes, if you search in Google, Wikiquotes never comes.
Right.
Suppose I'm looking for a quote by Mahatma Gandhi. Okay, suppose quote by Mahatma Gandhi. So what I go is that I go into a Wikipedia page of Mahatma Gandhi. Then I go into tools section. I go into the drop down, go to a wiki quotes of Mahatma Gandhi, and I probably get a quote.
Hmm.
This is a very simple thing, but probably 99% of academicians or the researchers in our country probably does not know this process, or they
Hmm.
does not even know that wiki quotes exist.
Right.
So I think the awareness before becoming an editor, the way of using the way of exploiting the Wikimedia resources which are already there would be a better option. Okay, this type of our training has always been focused on getting more editors, but we need to train people how to use the Wikimedia as a resource portal or a resource database. So this is what I want to say. Okay.
Great, Ranganda. And anyone else who wanted to? Yeah, Ranganda has done two things here. He spoke about kind of people who should come to Wikimedia community, and also he spoke about what is the obstacle that he has been seeing in that the whole process. If I can conclude it this way, digital literacy, particularly open knowledge literacy, or like open licenses literacy, whatever you can say, like that is very low in academicians as far as he can see. That is the primary problem. If there is a digital literacy, at least they would like at least they would get to know there is something called Wikiquote, and then they would exploit Wikiquote, right? So he very well identified the problem from their side. I would also, my primary point is retrospection from the community's side. I would also definitely speak about these points and from Wikimedia community side. But there are two other answers also, like because this is a little more important aspect. Bashir, Bashir, can you also speak about why researchers should be in Wikimedia and what is the major problem that they are not being able to come to Wikimedia very well? Is it okay, or else am I asking too much, Bashir? You can. There is no right or wrong answers, Bashir. No one knows what is the right answer. If we know what is right answer, we would have been. Oh, you are in a library. You can just type why there are not many researchers in Wikimedia movement. Okay, sure. You can continue writing. Redan said culture, people who are working around culture, definitely. I also agree, and I'm also very much interested in that regard. If Redan is in an environment where they can speak, can they speak? Sorry for putting people who contributed on spot, or else they can type. Why these groups are not interacting with Wikimedia movement as much as we wanted to? No problem, Raidan. Thank you. Just type a simple line, that's all fine. Because I didn't prepare myself to speak a lot. I wanted to listen, learn. Okay, anyone who wanted to speak or who can speak, less trust among academics in the context of reliability on Wikipedia since anyone can edit. I think most people are not very aware of it and its different projects. Wonderful, Bashir, Redan, and thank you very much, Ranganda, also. See, like these are all like if I can summarize the point that Redan uh, provided, it is about trust. It is speaking about trust and reliability. And then the point of Bashir is primarily about not very well aware of it and its different projects. Awareness, especially sister projects. Right, perfect. I would agree with a lot of these points. Digital literacy, open knowledge literacy. See, Ranganda and others, like I would primarily think of retrospection here. Wikicodes, if Wikicodes is a wonderful project, um, we should be able to, for example, I'm just giving you small point idea. Why isn't there, is there a Wikicode application where people can download the app and check once in a while to see if there is a cool misquoting of someone. Wikicode, as far as I remember, is very notorious for not notorious. Notorious is a bad word, but I said like my English is a broken English. Wikicode is very famous for debunking false quotes, right? Rangandatta, Ranganda. Um I generally go to Wikicode to see if to see particularly the section of like what do you say, misquoting or else misattribution. So Mahatma Gandhi section says this: first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, and then you win, right? This is a misattribution quote. I don't know until I open Wiki quote and check this out. So I still believe until this minute, 7:37 p.m. of 24 December 2026, 2025. I always believed that first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, and then they fight with you, and then you win is very well Mahatma Gandhi's quote because I have seen it in hundred thousands of places. How many of you know this is an misattribution? Or else, how many of you believed that this is a Mahatma Gandhi quote? Just give a thumbs up. Chinu thought it is. Agami also thought it is. Sharif also thought it is. As far as I know, many people in the room might have thought it is Mahatma Gandhi's quote. It was quoted many, many a times, and then they debunked it. First, this is a misattribution. An eye for an eye will make the whole world blind is also not Mahatma Gandhi's quote according to Wiki quote. We need to be change. We need to be the change we wish to see in the world is also not Mahatma Gandhi's quote. So these are all very interesting things, right? Why there is no application which was built on top of wiki codes, which just gives you one misattribution, very funny and interesting misattribution every day, and then you can click on it and then you can go to that person's quotation quotes, and in that and you can go into the rabbit hole, right? We have not built such a kind of thing, right? Am I just blind to the whole fact that there is some application that is already available out there in the world? I'm just searching for Wikicode app in the mobile. While there is not an official Wikicode mobile app from the Wikimedia Foundation, you can access its vast resource via Wikicode website on your phone browser. But why? If not Wikimedia Foundation, why didn't we build? Isn't it an easy or else a simple way to bring people to an attention that this is how you can use such a cool website? So what I'm trying to provide this idea is I'm not blaming anyone. I'm blaming myself if anything else, because like I'm there in this movement for last 10 years until Ranganda pointed this point out. I have not thought that Wiki Code can be one of the wonderful projects to pitch to um, uh, the kind of people that he spoke about, particularly researchers or academicians. So, for example, trust question, right? So, for example, who someone else spoke about trust question, trust and reliability. What if we debunk popular beliefs? There is a Wikimedia based website which generally debunks popular opinions, popular beliefs, popular misquotings through backing of Wikimedia world, be it Wikipedia or be it Wikicode. Did we try creating such a cool app or such a cool website out of Wikimedia world? Isn't it some easy way for us to say, like, we are not people who create misinformation, we are the people who fight against misinformation? I think yes, right? But we didn't do that because primarily we are not thinking in that direction. Primarily, we are not thinking what would be helpful for people out there. We are in the business of creating Wikimedia knowledge, and we are in the business of going out and saying, come contribute to Wikipedia. How to contribute to Wikipedia? Write articles, click photos and upload to Wikimedia Commons. That to click on mobiles and upload through laptops. So there is, for a fun fact, it is not easy to upload Wikimedia Commons through existing applications on mobile, but everyone in the world is clicking photos through mobiles. So what I am trying to help understand, or else I am trying to share my perspective, is we are not thinking out of our comfort zone. Our comfort zone is to create content. Our comfort zone is to create outreach in a way that, like, create an outreach from our perspective. So most of the Wikilove's programs, for example, they ran they run on based on Wikimedia Commons site banner. But out there in the world, people are leveraging what do you say, like Instagram, people are leveraging Facebook, people are leveraging YouTube and a lot of other platforms to promote the work that we are doing. It is a great thing that someone out there is running such a difficult job of Wiki loves. I'm not burdening them with this job of doing the rest of the outreach, but we can do it. No, people who are not doing that outreach can very well, people who are not burdened with running a Wikimedia Wikiloves campaign can very well go to 10 most visited Instagram pages and pitch them, saying that this is a very cool contest and you are posting a lot of content that photographers like. Why can't you just put as one of the posts? I know a lot of people who would do this kind of stuff. They would definitely put up that posters. Did I do it? I didn't do it yet. But what I'm saying is, like, I did few other things from my perspective, from the way that I wanted to do. I did few other things, but not this one. But sorry if it becomes too much of preaching. That's why I tried not to be a speaker but listener until some point. But what I'm trying to speak about here is that we are trying to do outreach, we are trying to build collaborations, but our primary mode of engagement is, look, we have a platform. Why don't you come and contribute? That has been our primary mode of operating. But out there in the world, there are many other ways to create collaborations, especially for a diverse movement like Wikimedia. So, or else the first beginning of all these things is, I would believe, changing ourselves from changing our perspective of um, changing our perspective of understanding Wikimedia contributions one way, and also just thinking why people are not being able to contribute, why people are away from this movement, what is the logic why they have not been contributing, etc. I'm not saying we have not done this as a as an individuals, but I would like to take courage of saying we should do it as a movement. Individually, we might have tried these ideas. Definitely, for example, Ranganda has been put forth his idea of why only Wikipedia. There are many other there are many other sister projects, including Wikisource, Wikivoyage, etc., in many of his Wikimedia work. But as a movement, um, as uh, as communities, as groups, as people who are building this movement, as people who are leading this movement, from that role, from that capacity, we all should collaboratively stop thinking in the same direction that we are thinking until now and start looking things from a new perspective is what I wanted to share in this talk. Um, I would want to listen from all of you. Does that make sense? Am I just being so preachy? I I'm just opening floor for questions. Yeah, Wikipedia, Wikisource, and Commons are popular projects, right, Ranganda? But
Just want to add, so Wikipedia is obviously the most popular project. So it's a mother project, I would say, and Commons is obviously that supports Wikipedia. This goes hand in hand. But and Wikisource in recent times in Bengali as well as number of Indian languages have picked it up a lot. Okay, so I personally know a lot of my fellow Wikimedians, I would rather say, are working on Wikisource. A lot of books are being scanned in Bengali and a lot of other Indian languages. And the Commons part is again also the Commons part is photographs are uploaded. Okay, the main problem is that most of the photographs uploaded are not properly categorized. And unless you categorize, suppose I'm adding article on some place X, it may be Wikipedia or Wikivoyage article on a place X. There are photographs, but the photographs have not been categorized. So this categorized part needs to be given more importance in Commons. And also, I think this is an example which I also discussed during the advanced DTT. So I had a researcher friend, Japanese the researcher friend. She knows Japanese. She was looking for a Japanese Buddhist play in place called Kushinagar, where Gautam Buddha died. So that obviously that I personally picked that photograph and uploaded in Wikimedia Commons and I've categorized it. But that obviously that particular plague was not there in the Kushinagar article, and she was looking for the plague, and she knew only Wikipedia. She never knew what Wiki Commons is. So later on I over the phone call I explained her how to get to Wikimedia Commons and get that particular photograph. So this is again a lag between the researchers don't know how to use Wikimedia. So the photograph was there in Wikimedia Commons, but it's not in Wikipedia. She was only looking for Wikipedia because she knew what she had no idea what Wikimedia Commons was.
right, I agree with your point. Uh, our projects have a lot of internal improvements that needs to be done, including categorization, etc. But what my primary point of view with all these things is what is incentive to create a category. The world thinks so. I would just like to add 2 cents here. Um, Primarily, people, for example, if we add categorization, what would be incentive? Incentive doesn't need money, or else incentive doesn't need prizes, etc. Can categorization be a fun thing? Can categorization, output of categorization can be a really interesting data point, etc. But yeah, I'm just going into a rabbit hole again. Thanks for that contribution idea, Ranganda. I would definitely, as a Wikimedian, I would also like to um, think more about these points. Anyone would want to also speak or else ask question around points that I'm bringing in. Um, there are also other food for thoughts that I would like to also provide. Um, these are all questions that are burning in my mind always. So, for example, Wiki, um, MediaWiki as a platform, and also a lot of tools that we create, build, etc., are part of free and open source movement. But generally, when if it is free and open source movement, there is outside the Wikimedia world, there is a vast version of FOSS communities out there. But FOSS communities doesn't have the same understanding or else same in the I have discussed this with many FOSS friends. In their understanding, Wikimedia doesn't have a lot of space in their understanding of how FOSS should be growing, what is FOSS, etc. And vice versa. A lot of people who contribute to Wikimedia projects internally also doesn't think Wikipedia as part of larger FOSS. So there are these mismatches within our movement about um, imagining our movement in overall global space. Um, FOSS is just one example. There are also many such examples. Wikimedia is part of language activism. We all agree, and we all also see Wikimedia as part of language activism. But Wikimedia is also FOSS. Wikimedia is also open data, free and open data. Wikimedia is also a lot of rights work. Wikimedia is also a lot of such great work that is happening out there. Are we collaborating with those kind of e those kind of organizations that are working out there in the same capacity we can? Um, if not, what should be our approach, change in our approach when we are meeting them, when we are start talking them, is my primary premise of this talk. My understanding is that like we should start thinking from their perspective, from their shoes, and we should start thinking from the shoes of people whom we want to bring into the moment, and then start building for it, start advocating for it, start speaking about it, and start petitioning for it, and start contributing to it. Mobile editing is one such example, and then building a lot of understanding Wikimedia movement as part of FOSS is one example. Understanding Wikimedia movement as part of overall open access is one such part of it. For example, there are many such things like so. Any questions from participants?
Just adding in, we still have time. So if you have any questions that you have not shared yet, please drop them in the chat or feel free to unmute yourself.
Pavan, I had an observation that, I've been wondering for quite a long time. It's the entirely reliance on PHP, on the, which we use in the MediaWiki software, the core that is used throughout the Wikimedia, foundation projects, including Wiki, Commons, and elsewhere. And we can't really get over with it. We can't just change it or, move to some other language. And it oftentimes makes as a barrier to engaging tech-oriented students or the community to come into here who haven't really studied PHP much well and would want to contribute in those spaces. Have you ever come across this thought?
We encountered this problem in our activities, we encountered this situation in our activities and events. I'm not a tech expert myself, but I'm working within a team which is thinking both about technology policy and also technology outreach. So primarily we are dealing with this aspect too through two different lenses. When it comes to tech policy lens, this is a little premature to discuss about this from tech policy lens, but uh, me as a person, me as someone who is observing this whole thing, not as someone part of the team, would want to ask this difficult question of should it be this way? Should it be entirely this way, or else can we shuffle the whole idea? Is a very tempting question as someone who don't completely understand the whole technology myself, who cannot directly code myself. But I'm not good at exploring this question. But as an outsider who is contributing to Wikimedia movement for last lot 10 more, almost 12 years, I was very tempted to ask this question and put forth this question and wanted to see if this question should have a good conversation around it. That's one side of that whole thing. Second, we are currently engaging with a lot of students whom we are working with by um, providing an opportunity for them to work beyond core actually. So there are a lot of other things that people can do, contribute, or else build within Wikimedia ecosystem. If not, they can directly contribute to core, or else if not, they can directly contribute to core MediaWiki software. So we are also exploring that route of how can um, newbies within tech ecosystem can contribute not just to um, MediaWiki core. Does that answer your question, Afi?
Yeah, this does definitely make a sense.
But this is beyond my capacity. Um,
Yeah, my capacity as well.
but as someone, a centralized organization in India would help, I guess. I feel the different communities in India are scattered when it comes to collaboration, Redon. Um, maybe. This experiment has done earlier. This effort has done earlier. Um, as a Wikimedian, in my Wikimedian shoes, I would want to think from that direction. But as a whole, in general, as a movement, we should start I'm not just speaking from Indian perspective. I'm just speaking from the global perspective, from my limited capacity. I would like to say this is not just India's problem, or else particularly the problem that I'm speaking about. This is not just India's problem. This is a global problem. If you can read something called Global Majority Tech Priorities, uh, which was built by uh, which was primarily built by Wikimedia Brazil in collaboration with our team. Um, so it also speaks about similar problems. Um, it also speaks about prioritizing decentralized, diverse, and inclusive software development, empower inclusive development, and also it also definitely speaks about take immediate action on mitigating IP blockage efforts, etc., etc. So build from the perspective of global majority, especially from the perspective of people who has only mobiles in their hands, etc. So I would attempt to say that this is not just uh, uh, this is not just going to be our problem and our perspective, but anyone else have any further questions or else points to add, ideas to share? Also, it would be if you have if you had any experience of working with these ideas, these problems. I definitely think a lot of anyone who goes with the mission of outreach would encounter the problems that we are discussing here. Um, so if you have any further ideas that you wanted to see, or else if you have any further points that you wanted to discuss, I'm always open. My email is pavansanthosh.yes. Sorry, I will I will share my username, which is pavansanthosh.yes, and my username as from my um, organization's organizational affiliation. Um, I'm also sharing that with you. I'm always interested to have further conversations in this regard.
We are almost out of time for today's conversation hour. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to connect with Pavan on he has given his username in the chat. Before we move on to the formal vote of thanks, thank you so much, Pavan, for grounding today's conversation in the realities of communities and partners we hope to work with. A brief recap of what we talked about in today's session is retrospection from communities, open knowledge literacy, and how things like misattributed codes or limited access influence who gets to participate in Wikimedia projects. You also showed how moving beyond the usual, we have a platform, come and contribute model through apps, social media campaigns, and other formats can open up new forms of engagement that fit people's contexts. Most importantly, you reminded us that a sustainable movement starts with thinking from the needs and perspectives of the people we want to bring in and designing collaborations that communities and institutions can realistically sustain over time. As we come to the conclusion of this conversation hour, a heartfelt vote of thanks is in order. First, thank you, Pavan, for bringing such clarity, honesty, and practicality to a topic that often stays abstract. Your varied experiences gave us powerful lens to rethink how we work with communities and institutions. A warm thank you to the DCW community and the team for holding this space and for continuing to invest in sustainability, skills, and leadership across the movement. And finally, thank you so much, everyone here who is present here for your time, your curiosity, and your willingness to think aloud with us. This initiative only works because people like you show up and engage. We hope you will stay connected with DCW, share today's learnings with your communities, and join us again for future editions of the Conversation Hour. With that, we formally close today's session. Take care, keep collaborating, and keep building the world of open knowledge. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your patience and your time.